Oh, I feel like I'm probably in the minority here. Mickey 17. It was directed by Bong Joon-ho, and from the trailer, I only saw the trailer one time. Thought I was gonna really like this movie. It looked like a super fun action sci-fi sort of deal with Robert Pattinson. And I loved the fact that later in the trailer, at least that initial trailer, they kind of showed that there were going to be multiple versions of him and he was going to be kind of playing two different sides of himself and all of that. I was all the way in. So I went on Thursday this past week to go watch this film, and I sat down. I was really excited. Had my popcorn, had my icy in my hand, and I was ready to go. I think the last thing I said to my friend before the movie started was, "I'm so excited for this." And then the movie started, and I was like, "Okay, okay." And then we got about 30 minutes into it, or however long it was, and the main title popped up, and I was like, all right, okay. And it's kind of a lot of setup, which is fine. By the middle of the film, I was like, I I don't know, I don't know, like I'm not sure that I'm enjoying this. And then uh, by the third act, I was like, okay, all right, like I'm getting it. Um, and I guess that's where I'm just going to come out and say I think this movie was sort of fine, and that made me sad because it's really well shot. It's really well acted by Robert Pattinson specifically, and the visuals were really cool. I thought that a lot of the premises were really cool. The execution just kind of fell flat for me, and a lot of that has to do with pacing and tone. To be perfectly frank, I think that I was sold a false bill of goods from what the trailer showed me using the "Ain't That a Kick in the Head" song. Like, I don't know. I just thought it was going to be a lot more kind of whimsical, and it went more like indie art house ish kind of thing, which is I'm into that too. That's fine. But it just wasn't what I was expecting. And maybe that's the real crux of my issues with the film is I was expecting more of like a space epic from this incredible director, and it wasn't what I got. That's what I felt like I was pitched, and that just wasn't the movie. That's okay. I do think that the movie had some strong elements. The main one being Robert Pattinson. There are so many good moments with him, with his characters, and yeah, I mean that dude just brings it every time he's in something. It's really really fun to watch him work. I love how unique each of these characters that he plays is. Like his filmography at this point and the things that he's done acting wise, it's just there's such a breadth to it, and it's really cool. It's just cool to see him continue to develop that and continue to do that. If I had to pinpoint one of the low points for me acting wise, it is 1000% Mark Ruffalo in this movie, and I really like Mark Ruffalo as an actor. I think he's super talented. I think that I like him as Hulk fine. I wasn't necessarily sad when they recast Ed Norton in that role. And, it's, I think that the biggest thing for me with this movie is that it feels too much like a caricature of Trump. If I'm just being completely honest with you, and I don't really get political on this channel or anything, but it was like too heavy handed, if that makes sense. Like, I don't know about you guys, but when I go watch a movie, especially a movie like this, I don't want to get preached at. I'm fine with the movie having a message. Like I think that that's the point of art in general, right? Like movies are 100% a vessel to be able to say whatever you want to say about whatever it might be. This one to me, it just felt, I know that like Ruffalo is not a Trump guy and everything. Like that's fine. Like I kind of know that going into any movie I watch with him, just because he's like I don't know. You kind of have to separate it from the performance a little bit. Any actor that's like that on either side of the political aisle, by the way, it just like it gets a little like ridiculous, I guess. And I like when I'm watching a movie, I don't want to be thinking about that. And it was all I could think about every time he was on screen. It just felt really cartoony and really over the top and just like phoned in, for lack of a better way of putting it. I don't know if you guys are going to feel the same way. Like, he definitely made me laugh a few times too. It's not that like it's completely terrible or anything. It was just real over the top for me personally. And Toni Collette's character, she plays his wife in the movie. She's over the top too, but it's like it's more tame. I don't know how else to put it. It just is. It's more condensed. Like I know what they were going for, and I know what he was going for with the character, and it could have worked had he dialed it back maybe like 20%. I don't know. I don't know if that makes sense. And if you've seen the movie, you'll know what I'm talking about. If you haven't yet and you plan to, I'd love to hear your thoughts after you watch it. Hopefully this doesn't ruin it for you. This is going to be spoiler free, by the way. I'm not going to like mess anything up for you if you haven't seen it yet, since it's so new. But there are a couple other things that happen, you know, with like space exploration and being the invaders to a planet that's not yours. There's a lot of that too that also just like kind of out of nowhere felt really heavy-handed and just, again, over the top. And I was like, it like pulled me out of it, for lack of a better way of putting it. I'm totally fine. Like, you say what you want to say with your movie, 100%. Like, that's the whole deal. You know, that's what anyone signs up for when you're watching something. But if I feel like I'm getting like beat over the head with it, it pulls me out, and then I'm not enjoying your movie. Like, I'm not enjoying the art that you're showing me anymore. I'm thinking about, you know, our real world, and I go to movies to not think about the real world. Like, that's at least why I go. I know that there are plenty of movies that are real poignant and that, you know, evoke various emotions. And, you know, if you want to feel sad, like, you can watch something depressing, or I don't know. That's just not my jam. Like, I'm very much a blockbuster guy. I like going and watching something that's going to let me go to a different world for a little bit, and have some fun there, and enjoy some characters that are really sweet and endearing, or just complete dirtbags that I hate. And that's like what Mark Ruffalo's character is supposed to be. And you do hate him, but the whole time I was like, yeah, I mean, like, you're a jerk, but also I just don't really like, you feel like you're Mark Ruffalo doing a bit, not like playing a character. That's probably the best way to put it. At any rate, all the supporting casts I felt like did a really good job. I thought that the stuff with Mickey, if you've seen the trailer, you know this. He's Mickey 17 because there are other versions of him that came before that. He's an expendable, so he's died. All this is in the trailer. This isn't a spoiler. So, you know, like, every version of him is a little bit different. And, you know, every time he dies, they really play that up, and they really want you to like marinate in his suffering, which, again, it just based on the trailer, I thought that it was going to be more, like, kind of like silly and whimsical, and it's like, here we go again, gotta die, you know. And it just wasn't that. It was much more like, ugh, sorry, man, I hate that for you. I'm a little uncomfortable watching this, you know. That's sort of how it felt. And I was, you know, and which is good on a level. It does make you feel for him as a character. But then, like, you'll go to something else next minute, and you're like supposed to be laughing because it's like whatever the situation is genuinely funny, and you just feel like you're ping-ponging a little bit tonally. The other problem that I had was the pacing. Just like, anytime I thought that the movie was about to like take off and start doing something more grand, it like kind of nothing happens, and it just kind of, I don't know. It kind of like takes it back down, and then it'll go a little bit back up, and then back down again. And then all of a sudden you're at the third act and the movie's over. And it's like, okay, well, okay. That's where we're at. But yeah, I don't know. This one was weird for me. I definitely didn't hate it. I think that it's probably worth a watch just because it's a pretty interesting idea, very original film. Cinematography is beautiful, like I said. Robert Pattinson he deserves paying the price for a ticket just to go watch his performance, I think. That's kind of where I land on this one. But let me know what you think. If you disagree with me, let me know in the comments. I'd love to, we can hash it out, talk about it, whatever. If you do agree with me, then that's cool too. You know, I'm sorry. Hopefully next one's a little better for us. And if you're not subscribed already, go ahead and hit that button, hit like on this video. All that stuff helps a ton. Really appreciate you guys tuning into this one. Peace.